Like the fella once said, ain't that a kick in the head? Da-da-da-da-da-da. The room was completely black. I hugged her and she hugged back. Like the citizen quote, ain't that a whole number? Da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And there we go, Night Islands. So tonight, I was originally going to do a normal ASMR stream, however, it's just going to be one of those days where I read to you a whole bunch of wonderful, cozy things. I hope you all been well and staying slay, okay? Because tonight is yet another beautiful, adorable one, isn't it? I'm going to be on my phone for just a little minute here as I make yet another wonderful little Twitter post of UwU Rawr, something weird. Do you want to try my cookie dipped in pasta or pizza sauce or something? Perfect. Yeah, that makes my undernail look bad, but oh well. I'll just go to this. Oh, hi Robin. Hi beautiful Springer. Hi, puppy girl. How are you, my wonderful, adorable darlings? I hope you're all having a slay night, and you're absolutely staying slay. And hi Gabs, welcome in. How are you, my dear? I hope you're going to be real cozy tonight. It is real close, 13 to 9, and the ASMR vote at 10 o'clock, so we'll be doing a reading stream. It's been a bit. I've been doing okay, darling Robin. Missing you, but having a good cozy time anyway. And I played a little bit of Minecraft with a friend before stream. It took me an hour to get ready because it seemed like I had a million things to do, but that's okay. So, welcome in, good Robin. Hi, puppy Springer. How are you, sweetheart? I'm good, puppy. Good puppy girl. Wow. My sweetest, beautifulest, prettiest puppy girl in all of existence. And hi, Triscuits. How are you, my dear? Thank you for the 100 bits before stream. That always means a lot. Sweet. And Gabs, I hope you're doing slay. You are. And I'm doing okay. I woke up, had coffee, read a little bit of Ragnarok something, some manga, I can't remember the name. Wasn't you Triscuits? Oh wow, it must have been the other Triscuits then. Moi. Hola, mi hermosa noche. ¿Qué tal? But I had a delicious cookie. Well, to start off my day, I couldn't get good rest. So I woke up at something like 12, then 4, or 3 o'clock, something like that. I had a cookie, oat milk, and an English muffin with an egg. Then I fell asleep, and I woke at 7, then 9, then 12, then 3, then 4. This is why I recommend getting a good night's rest instead of being like me and going without it for a whole day. I would recommend. And what kind? What do you mean, sweetheart Triscuits? I'm just finishing up some homework. What is it about tonight? And I'll focus back on the beautiful puppy girl Val. And hi Trey. Welcome in, sweetheart. How are you, my dear? I will do the water jar, and then I think I'll go find some story to read for you, sweetheart. Let me go see here. Where are my books? There, oh, that's the wrong link. Okay. And short stories for children. That sounds good. Snooping in Ezra's? I mean, why wouldn't I go and lurk in the beautiful boys? He's a beautiful darling, you know. Oh, yeah. Got angry watching Chai trying to play Mario 64, and now you're here. Oh yeah, how's that going? It didn't pop into Sweetheart Chai's yet. I kind of missed that. Please give them my sweetest regards. In the meantime, I'm going to do water jar, and then I will go and find a story to read tonight. Should we do Winnie the Pooh again to start off with? Or should we find some other story? I'll let you pick in a minute anyway. Oh, and whoever it was, thank you for the resub. It means a lot, sweetheart. Genuinely. And Fofa, aren't you supposed to be going to bed earlier? Ah, thank you, sweetheart. And hi, sweet Snap, how are you, my dear? I hope you're doing absolutely well, darling. Many hugs. The very hungry caterpillar. I mean, we could, certainly. And Cryo Globes, thank you for the follow. How are you tonight, my dear? Oh, going to knit. Just like that story you were sharing on stream, sweetheart. Making you really feel old. And Myokoi, thank you for the follow, sweetie. And Angel Tenchi, welcome in, darling. How are you tonight? Also, should I just start pinging the Twitter role on the server, or should I do Twitter and everyone? Because we're officially at the point where we're technically a big server, but most people have their direct notifications turned off. Which I don't blame them. Who the hell goes into a server anyway and doesn't get their notifications instantly? Hola, Felan. ¿Qué tal, mi amiga? Or amigo? I can't remember. You're just breathtaking in my eyes, Felan. Let me go post, cringe. Triscuits. The bits. You're gonna make me cry soon. But how are you, my dear feline? I hope you're doing well. Oh, you were good. You're grinding Asphalt 9 with Lamborghini Aventador, and you're so close to unlocking some other ones. Okay, there. I made my guaranteed Twitter shill post. It's of me dipping a cookie in pizza sauce. Of course I have to. I always have to, don't I, sweetheart? Now, you, my darling, you smell like a freshly opened Pepsi. Absolutely delicious, and very much carbonated. And that's perfect. Would you like a cookie and milk too? You can have it and fall right to sleep. Of course, sweetheart Triscuits. Of course. And cold key. Welcome in, my sweetheart. How are you? And feeling you're good, and you hope I'm well too. I am. I had a cookie and 2 coffees, which is far too much. And a pizza slice and a pretzel with it too. It was very delicious. Let me do the sugar spray for darling Gabs, and then I think I'll find a story to read for us tonight. And no problem there, partner Bree. You go have yourself a real good cozy night, okay? And you fall asleep real good night here. Yeehaw, partner. Yes, if you want, you can wish a good night to sweetheart Bree. And Subwinter, welcome in, darling. Would you like me to give you a good boy in a minute? Is that what you want? I think a neighbor just got home from work or something. There you go. That is sugar spray, made in Italy, to my new knowledge. And good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. I'm so proud of you, my good, sweet boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Really, Winter? That is something I didn't know. I didn't know they're waterproof, and that's rather interesting to learn. And hi, Tori. How are you, dear? And everyone really likes that cookie, you know, don't they? And ara, 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 ara. I know I've been thinking about this for a little bit. Should I try to see if I can get my cat to meow and make that the follow noise? Oh, hi, Static. Ah, it's a battle of the bands. You left when you woke up, so now you're tired. Okay. I hope you can rest well then, sweetheart Static. You certainly need all of it. Ooh. Greetings, Jonathan. How are you tonight, dear? I hope you sipped enough water. And Prime 6752. Hi. How are you? I'm good, angel boy. Such a good, beautiful angel boy. Good angel boy. Good angel boy. Good angel boy. Oh, I disabled Tappies because I thought I was going to do a reading stream tonight. but I didn't want to disturb anyone, though. I think I'll play the kalimba and do tappies anyway. And welcome in, Koha, darling. How are you, my dear? Did you sip enough water? Have you been healthy? I'm going to sip some peppermint tea now and hope for the best. Oh, look at that cute lurk emote. Next redeem I'll be doing is kalimba. And then I think I will go and do... what's a good one? Tappies. Just a little bit of book tappies for a minute. I like being called a good boy, Winter. I never knew. Koha, my darling, don't make me cry. Go drink half a liter of water. Saturday I went to work. It was quite good. I didn't have any sleep before it because it was just one of those nights. Yeah, half a liter is what I start off my day with. Granted, I drink about 4 liters of water. And thank you for the follow. Who is Tori? Who is Tori, I wonder? Is Tori a person? Are they a rabbit? Are they a bunny? Whomst is Tori? And good puppy. Good puppy. Such a good puppy you are. Your beady eyes, soft fur, good puppy, good puppy. More than it is, no. Koha, drink some more water. Mind you, I drink about 4 to 5 liters a day. Mostly because it suppresses my appetite. And I find that to be quite beneficial for me. Oh, Twisted, you changed your name. Well, that's going to be confusing for me, but I'll just call you Vega from now. And Tori, you swear you're a bunny. Okay. A good boy, Robin. Aren't you such a good, beautiful, enchanting boy? Yes, you are. My good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. That's perfectly okay, Vega. I have the name Felix because my IRL name doesn't make me happy. And by the way, to Tori, Prime, and all those who just recently followed, you get a free trigger by just asking, okay? And I tried my best. How are you, dear? I hope you're well. I should probably make an invite link to the server. No, Koha, though I legally thought about changing it, so it might as well be. I can tell you more in detail on why I don't like my name, but I don't want to make it too sad tonight. Ooh, I know, gasp. I know. I know, the world has gone mad, truly. Okay, let me go find my thermos and give you some tappies on that, and then I'll book tappies is what I'll do instead. Before that, I will go quickly make an invite link to the server, because even though it's been made a community server, I don't know how to get the unmoving link, so now it's just whatever. Oh, it's okay, Koha. It's okay. You're just as beautiful in my eyes anyway. There we go. And book tappies it is now. And who is Tori once had pets? Vega, you had your good puppy. Fine, Angel, let me give you a sniff. Okay, you go get that sweet Koha and send a picture. Darling, you smell like freshly baked loaves of bread, brand new baked donuts, and chocolate. By the way, Triscuits, if you're still there, sweetheart, you get yourself a free redeem for the bits earlier. Sweetie. If I remember at some point, I need to make new sub badges. I'm thinking cookies in different colors. That should be delicious, right? Toasted coconut. 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 Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Cold Gear is actually thinking about that. some point, I really should bake some more. And I might bake these, where are they? Some seasonal cookies I got. They're a mix, so they're probably just add egg, milk, and water, and, or no, not water, egg, milk, and probably vanilla. I don't really know. Cookie baking? No, I'm too loud when I bake. Unless you want to hear me scrub each and everything just after I use it. I don't think that'd be a really good baking stream, sweetie. I should probably, no. Yo. And let me go look at the co-host picture here. Sweet co-host picture. Oh, that's perfectly fine. That's beautiful as is, I would say. And hi, Sunny D. Welcome in, sweetie. I hope you've been well. Now, do you think I should read Winnie the Pooh or Snow White? I have the feeling that I'm going to do Winnie the Pooh first because that sounds real cozy. Let's see. Yep, Winnie the Pooh, Chapter 9. Ooh, slay. And welcome back, Koha. Your cookies and milk do look very tasty. How were they? Or how are they, sweetheart? And hi, Crunchy, sweetie. How are you, my dear? Did you sip enough water and have you been healthy, darling? I'm going to, go sip some peppermint tea right now and enjoy that. And, Crunchy, I hope you're well. Many hugs, darling. Oh, do eat it. You know, that really is one of my favorite emotes. Just something so happy about it. Anyway, Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. Hopefully that's how it is. I feel like I should get another maid outfit, but a nicer one that just isn't so tight, you know? Because the one I got is pretty much a tube skirt, a very cheap one. So I kind of feel tempted that I should get a nicer one, but that won't be for a little while, and after I get a whole bunch of Christmas gifts. I already have pretty much half the people planned out for that. I'm going to get some of my family members, what is it? Coffee. Because there's a nice brand of coffee I know and love. And one of them, I will probably get some body lotion and milk. I'm going to... Okay, you go take your time, sweet Fofa. And... Triscuit. And for another family member, I think I'm going to get body lotion. Because they recently discovered that the proper word, or proper way to pronounce shea butter is shea butter, not shea. so I'll certainly try that. Coconut oil? Okay, how many of you darlings know anything about basic oil care with oil-based products like shea butter and coconut oil and body oil and jojoba oil and almond oil and all that, and know not to put on your face? That family member came up and bragged to me about how they're doing such a good skincare. They put a thick layer of coconut oil on their face. I could see the pimples forming. That's how bad it was. And they went to bed and didn't wash their face. And it was... And they told me how they put a face cleanser on their face and wash it. They just got it wet, put it on their face and left it there, didn't rub it in. And then they just went in the shower. I actually do love coconut oil. I have some diffractionated coconut oil, and it has a water lily in it, and it is so great. Bag balm? I'll have to try that one. I know, man, I know. Now, let's get to the story instead of me just chatting about a whole bunch of things. Oh, yeah. And that very same family member I just mentioned, when they were visiting, I think I have to wash their pillow cover or pillowcase because there is a brown oil stain on it. They only spent 3 nights. That thing was washed before they came. And hi, Lord Silent. How are you, my dear? I hope you're well. I know. They tell me they take 2 showers a day and blah 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 and blah blah blah. But something's lacking. And the stain of sadness. Oh my. That's a good description, I suppose. Anyway, back to the story. And I'm glad that you're doing good, sweet Lord Silent. May your day be good, and your night be great. Let us... Oh, Tori, you love my voice. Thank you. I always love knowing that people enjoy me. So each and every little bit does bring a little cry to my face. Not the tih. For me, they have yet to change it from the Halloween, so it still shows the Halloween one. The best one in my opinion. Best emote on Twitch. Can't change my mind. Now, let me actually go sip some more tea and then I'll get right into this. That's why I made that emote. Winnie the Pooh, Chapter 9, in which Piglet is entirely surrounded by water. It rained, and it rained. Piglet told himself never in all of his life, and he was goodness, who knows how old, 3 or was it 4? Never had he seen so much rain, days and days and days. If only, he thought, as he looked out of the window, I had been at Pooh's house, or Christopher Robin's house, or Rabbit's house when it began to rain, when I should have had company all this time, instead of being here alone with nothing to do except wonder when it will stop. And he was imagined himself with Pooh, saying, "Did you ever see so much rain, Pooh?" And Pooh saying, "Isn't it awful, Piglet?" And Piglet saying, "I wonder how it is over Christopher Robin's way." And Pooh saying, I should think poor old Rabbit is about to be flooded out by this time. It would have been a jolly to talk like this. It wasn't much good having anything exciting like floods. If you couldn't share them with somebody. For it was rather exciting. The little dry ditches in which Piglet had nosed about so often had become streams. The little streams across which he had splashed were rivers, and the river between those two steep banks they had played so happily had sprawled out of its own bed and was taking up so much room everywhere that Piglet was beginning to wonder whether it would be coming into his bedroom soon. It was a little anxious, he said to himself, to be a very small animal entirely surrounded by water. Christopher Robin and Pooh could escape by climbing trees, and Conga could escape by jumping, and Rabbit could all escape by burrowing, and Owl could escape by flying, and Eeyore could escape by making a loud noise until rescued. And here I am, surrounded by water, and I couldn't do anything. It went on raining, and every day the water got a little higher, until now it was nearly up to Piglet's window, and still he hadn't done anything. There's Pooh, he thought to himself. Pooh hasn't much brain, but he never comes to any harm. He does silly things, and they turn out right. There's Owl. Owl hasn't got brain. He knows things. He would know the right thing to do when surrounded by water. And there's Rabbit. He hasn't learned in books, but he can always think of a clever plan. And there's Conga. She isn't clever. Conga isn't. But she would be so anxious about Roo that she would do a good thing to do without thinking about it. And then there's Eeyore. And Eeyore is so miserable anyhow that he wouldn't mind about this. But I wonder what Christopher Robin would do. Then suddenly he remembered the story in which Christopher Robin had told him about a man on a desert island who had written something in a bottle and thrown it into the sea. Piglet thought that if he wrote something in a bottle and threw it in the water, perhaps somebody would come and rescue him. He left the window and began to search his house. All of it wasn't underwater, and at least he found a pencil and a small piece of dry paper and a bottle with a cork in it, and he wrote on one side of the paper, "Help, Piglet," parentheses, me. And on the other side, "It's me, Piglet. Help, help." Then he put the paper in the bottle, and he corked the bottle up so tightly as he could, and he leaned out of the window as far as he could lean without falling in. He threw the bottle as far as he could throw, splash, and a little while it bobbed again on the water, and he watched it, floating slowly away in the distance, until his eyes ached with looking, and sometimes he thought it was a bottle, and sometimes he thought it was just a ripple in the water where he was following, and suddenly he knew that he would never see it again, and that he had done all he could to do to save himself. So now, he thought, somebody else will have to do something, and I hope they will do it soon, because if they don't, I shall have to swim, which I can't. So I hope they do it soon. And then he gave a long sigh and said, I wish Pooh were here. It would be so much more friendly with two. And have a good work, sweet Goa. And yes, Angel, do always remember to take a sip. It's very healthy. When the rain began, Pooh was asleep. It rained and it rained and it rained, and he slept and he slept and he slept. He had such a tiring day. And you remember how he discovered the North Pole? Well, he was so proud of this that he asked Christopher Robin if there were any poles such as a bear of the little brain might discover. Oh, thank you, sweetheart Tess. How are you tonight, my dear? And thank you for the sub. It always means a lot, sweetie. I hope you have plenty of delicious water and you've been having a great weekend. And hi, Tater, darling. How are you, darling? Did you sip enough water today? And have you been healthy, sweetie? And hi, good boy Cooper. How are you, my cutest, most darling Cooper? Did you sip enough water today, sweetheart? Have you been well, darling? I know. If you don't know this, Tesla isn't here. Also, if Sweetheart DOG is live, please give to them my love, because they are a breathtaking person, indeed. I honestly am kind of too tired to remember what tessellated means, but I can Google it real quick. Yes, Cooper. What is it, you good boy? Have you something special to say out of that adorable mouth of yours? Let me guess. You've been sipping delicious tea. And hi, Lillian. Welcome in, sweetheart. How are you, my dear? And I'll go do a purr for winter. I know, at Tesla. And do you have water too? Good job, Triscuits. And you've been drinking not as much water, but you're still drinking. Well, that's the spirit, sweetheart. Just as long as you stay healthy. Okay. Have a good, cozy time, darling Winter. And remember that you are loved. Let me drink some more water and then I'll get to reading, okay? Delicious. Just like you. Now let me go look at the definition of tessellated. Here it is. Okay, are you ready, sweetheart Fofa? Tessellated, denoting or characterized by a pattern of repeated shapes, especially polygons that fit together closely without gaps or overlaps. And you got jump scared by the Elder Guardian? Sweet puppy moon? Oh my. Or in other words, Fofa, tile pattern. There you go. A mosaic. A tessellated Tesla. Oh, I know. Now, I hope you didn't have too much of an issue with that, sweetheart puppy. I'll go stretch. That's my elbows. There we go. Now back to the story of Winnie the Pooh. There. I want to pat you, but there isn't to redeem. Fine, fine. I'll go at it in the meantime. There we go. If you want the answer, I don't know how to add it. I can ask someone at a later point, but it's all okay. Then the rain began. When the rain began, Pooh was asleep. It rained and it rained and it rained, and he slept and he slept and he slept. He had a tiring day. You remember how he discovered the North Pole? Well, he was so proud of this that he asked Christopher Robin if there were any other such poles as a bear's little brain might discover. "There is a South Pole," said Christopher Robin, "and I expect there's an East Pole and a West Pole, but people don't like talking about them." Pooh was very excited when he heard this and suggested that they should have an expedition to discover the East Pole. Christopher Robin had thought of something else to do with Congo. So Pooh went out to discover the East Pole by himself. Whether he discovered it or not, I forgot. But he was so tired when he got home that, in the very middle of his supper, when he had been eating for little more than half an hour, he fell fast asleep in his chair, and he slept and he slept and he slept. Then, suddenly, he was dreaming. He was at the East Pole. It was a very cold pole, with the coldest sort of snow and ice all over it. He had found a beehive to sleep in, but there wasn't room for his legs, so he had left them outside, and wild woozles and such as inhabit the East Pole came and nibbled all the fur off his legs to make nests for their young, and the more they nibbled, the colder his legs got. Then suddenly he woke up with an owl, and there he was, sitting in his chair with his feet in the water, and water all around him. He splashed to his door and looked out. "This is serious," said Pooh. "I must have an escape." So he took his largest pot of honey and escaped with it to a broad branch of his tree, well above the water, and then he climbed down again, escaped with another pot. Then, when the whole escape was finished, there was Pooh sitting on his branch, dangling his legs, and there beside him were 10 pots of honey. And have a good time, sweet Cooper. Remember that you are loved and enjoyed for who you are, and who you are is breathtaking and amazing. Goodbye, you sweet good boy, Nene. And Fofa. Those are some real cute emotes. One by Simi, one by you, one by me, and one by adorable Cinnamon Bun. Amazing, aren't they? Now, let me go. 2 days later, there was Pooh, sitting on his branch, dangling his legs, and there beside him were 4 pots of honey. 3 days later, there was Pooh, sitting on his branch, dangling his legs, and there beside him was 1 pot of honey. 4 days later, there was Pooh. And it was on the morning of the 4th day that Piglet's bottle came floating past him, and with one loud cry of "Honey!" Pooh plunged into the water, seizing the bottle and striking it back, or struggling it back to his tree again. "Pother," or however he says it, said Pooh as he opened it. All that wet for nothing. What is this bit of paper doing? He took it out and looked at it. And it's a message, he said to himself. What? That's what it is, and that letter is a P, and so is that, and so is that. P means poo. Here's a very important message for me, and I can't read it. I must find Christopher Robin, or Owl, or Peanut, or one of those clever readers who can read things, and they will tell me what this message means. Only I can't swim, Mother. Then he had an idea, and I think that for a very little brain, it was a good idea, he said to himself. If a bottle can float, then a jar can float, and if a jar floats, I can sit on the top of it, if it's a very big jar. So he took his biggest jar, corked it up. All boats have to have a name, he said, so I shall call mine the Floating Bear. And with these words he dropped his boat into the water and jumped in after it. For a little while, Pooh and the Floating Bear were uncertain as to which of them was meant to be on the top, but after trying one or two different positions, they settled down with the Floating Bear underneath, and triumphantly astride it, patting vigorously with his feet. I'm not going to say any innuendos about the previous line. Christopher Robin lived at the very top of his forest. It rained, and it rained, and it rained, but the water couldn't come up to his house. It was rather jolly to look down into the valleys and see all the water around him, but it rained so hard that he stayed indoors most of the time and thought about things. Every morning he went out with his umbrella and put a stick in the place where the water came up to, and every next morning he went out and couldn't see the stick anymore. So he put another stick in a place where the water came up to, and then he walked home again. Each morning he had put a shorter way to walk than he had the morning before, and on the morning of the 5th day he saw the water all around him, and knew for the first time in his life that he was on a real island, which was very exciting. It was on this morning the owl came flying over the water to say, "How do you do?" to his friend Christopher Robin. "I say, Owl," Christopher Robin, "isn't this fun? I'm on an island." "The atmospheric conditions have been very unfavorable lately," said Owl. "The what?" Mm-mm. You don't hear me currently pressing the button. "It has been raining," explained Owl. "Yes," said Christopher Robin, "it has. The flood level has reached unprecedented height." "Who?" "There's a lot of water about," explained Owl. "Yes," said Christopher Robin, "there is. However, the prospects are rapidly becoming more unfavorable. At any moment—" "Have you seen Pooh?" "No, at any moment. I hope he's all right," said Christopher Robin. "I've been wondering about him." "Thank you, sweetheart Tori. Many hugs. And hi, Tony Typo. How are you, sweetheart? Did sweetheart Kaz have a stream earlier? I think, right around the time they streamed, I was probably napping. My sleep schedule has been all manner of horrible recently." "I hope he's all right," said Christopher Robin. "I've been wondering about him. I expect piglets with him. Do you think they're all right, Owl?" "I expect so. You see, at any moment—" "Oh, do go and see." "Oh, change over to yours?" "Ah, thank you, sweetheart Tony Typo. Thank you. Are they streaming right now, or was it just earlier? And thank you for the follow, Starry. It means a lot. How are you, darling?" Earlier. Thank you, sweetie. And, by the way, feel free to ask for a free trigger, Tony. I like doing them. go and see, Owl, because Pooh hasn't got very much brain, and he might do something silly. And I do love him so, Owl. Do you see, Owl? That's all right, said Owl. I will go back, or I'll go back directly. He flew off. In a little while he is back again. Pooh isn't there, he said. Not there? He has been. He's been sitting on a branch outside of his house with 9 pots of honey. But now he isn't there. Oh, Pooh, cried Christopher Robin. Where are you? Here I am, said a growly low voice behind him. Pooh! They rushed into each other's arms. How did you get here? Asked Christopher Robin, when he was ready to talk again. Oh, my, it's 7 a.m. for you, Starry. And oh, look at that cute emote. I do so love their wonderful emotes. And you're like an enjoyer. Oh, you like my model? Thank you. Thank you. By the way, Starry, before you go, feel free to ask for a free trigger. You get one because you decided to follow the sweet me. How did you get here, Pooh? Asked Christopher Robin when he was ready to talk again. On my boat, said Pooh proudly. I had a very important message sent to me in a bottle, and owing to having got some water in my eyes, I couldn't read it, so I brought it to you on my boat. With these proud words, he gave Christopher Robin the message. But it's from Piglet, cried Christopher Robin when he had read it. But isn't there something or anything about Pooh in it? Asked Bear, looking over his shoulder. Christopher Robin read the message aloud. Oh, those are pea piglets. I thought they were Pooh's. We must rescue him at once. I thought he was with you, Pooh. Owl, could you rescue him on your back? I don't think so, said Owl, after a grave thought. It is doubtful if necessary dorsal muscles. Then would you fly to him at once and say that rescue is coming? And Pooh, I think of a rescue and come as quick as ever, or as quick as ever we can. Owl, don't talk, Owl, go on quick. And, still thinking of something to say, Owl flew off. Now then, Pooh, said Christopher Robin, where's your boat? I ought to say, explained Pooh as he walked down to the shore of the island, that isn't just an ordinary sort of boat. Sometimes it's a boat. Sometimes it's all more of an accident. It depends. It depends on what? On whether I'm on top of it or underneath it. Oh, well, where is it? There, said Pooh, pointing proudly at the floating bear. It wasn't what Christopher Robin expected, and the more he looked at it, the more he thought what a brave, clever Pooh Bear was, and the more Christopher Robin thought about this, the more Pooh looked modestly down his nose and tried to pretend he wasn't. Let me go scroll down a little bit, and let me grab my phone real quick, because there is something I want to do. Oh, Icky! Hi, welcome in, darling. How are you tonight, dear? I hope you're doing well and absolutely cozy. As you know, you are truly an amazing person, deserving of plenty of hugs and cuddles. But have you sipped enough water today, darling? I hope you have. There. Let me just go scroll on down and find them in just a moment. Oh my. You ever feel a little bit sleepy? That's all I am. Oh, but you need more water, Icky, darling. Go, drink more, sweetie. I'm worried about you. Now, let me go do this. Very tasty. Many hugs, sweet Icky. Many hugs. Now, but it's too small for the both of us, said Christopher Robin sadly. 3 of us with Piglet. That makes it smaller still. Oh, Pooh Bear, what shall we do? And then this bear, Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh, FOP, friend of Piglets, RC, Rabbit's companion, PD, Pole Discoverer, EC and TF, Eeyore's comforter and tail finder. In fact, Pooh himself said something so clever that Christopher Robin could only look at him with a mouth open and eyes staring, wondering if this really the bear, very little brain, whom he had known and loved for so long. We might go in your umbrella, said Pooh. We might go in your umbrella, said Pooh. We might go in your umbrella, said Pooh. For suddenly Christopher Robin saw that they might. He opened his umbrella and put it point downwards in the water. It floated but wobbled. Pooh got in, and just as he was beginning to say that was all right now, he found that it wasn't. So after a short drink, which he didn't really want, he waddled back to Christopher Robin. Then they both got in together, and it wobbled no longer. I shall call this boat the Brain of Pooh, said Christopher Robin, and the Brain of Pooh set sail forthwith in a southwesterly direction, revolving gracefully. You can imagine Piglet's joy when at last the ship came in sight of him. After years, he liked to think that he had been in very great danger during the terrible flood. But the only danger he had really been in was in the last half hour of his imprisonment, when Owl, who had just flown up, sat on a branch of his tree to comfort him, and told him a very long story about an aunt who had once laid a seagull's egg by mistake. And the story went on and on, rather like this sentence, until Piglet, who was listening out of his window without much hope, went to sleep quietly and naturally, slipping slowly out of the window towards the water until he was only just hanging by his toes, at which moment luckily a loud squawk from Owl was really part of the story, being what his aunt said woke Piglet up and gave him just time to jerk himself into safety and say, "How interesting, and did she?" When, well, you can imagine with joy, when at last he saw the good ship, Brain of Pooh, Captain C. Robin, First Mate P. Bear, coming over the sea to rescue him, Christopher Robin and Pooh again. And that is really the end of the story, and I am very tired after the last sentence, and I think I shall stop there. And that was the ending of Chapter 9 of Winnie the Pooh. That was rather sweet, wasn't it? Do you want to read Chapter 10, or no? We can save it for another time, because it seems like it's a good night. Yeah. That would be a good night story. We'll read that at the end, why don't we? Chapter 10, in which Christopher Robin gives Pooh a party, and we say goodbye. That will be for tomorrow. I feel so. And hi, Puppy J-Town. Did you see that Darling Echo is back? I think they had a stream yesterday, but I missed it. And good boy. 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 And good night, sweet Paulette. May you dream of something sweet, comfy, and cozy. And of course, Icky, no problem. And crisp pumpkin. 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 So tingly and cozy. I know. And Halloween, yeah. And I think a day after too. But then because there's only light dusting, it all disappeared, you know. And how have you been, sweetheart Justin? I hope you've been well and cozy tonight, sweetie. And did you sip enough water? Have you been healthy, sweetheart? I know. That's a good yawn, isn't it? 42? Oh my. It's actually rather warm for me then. It's about 48 or something. Oh well, indeed, Justin. Yeah, it is comfy. Comfy. Now, let me go open up this. You've been drinking a lot of water. I'm glad to hear that. I only drank about 1 liter today, not including my 2 coffees and my now tea. So probably about nearing 2 already, which isn't really enough. And let me go sniff puppy J-Town. Water is very good, sweetheart Icky. And good puppy J-Town. Today you smell like basil, oregano, and a bit of olive oil. Did you have something delicious earlier, darling? You probably did. Perhaps an egg on toasted bread. Was it a good sandwich? I hope it was, darling. Next story. Shall it be Snow White? What is aquí, mi hermosa? ¿Qué tal, mi amor? How have you been? Mi grande, buena niña. ¿Qué tal? Or Thumbelina. The Ugly Duckling. I have never read this. Let's read The Ugly Duckling. Why don't we? Ugly Duckling. 'Cause that, to me, sounds grand. I didn't sleep before work on Saturday, and all I did today was sleep and wake up, sleep, wake up. It was very interesting, I would say, but overall, I'm healthy. Me, hermosa. The Ugly Duckling by Hans Christian Andersen. I did sleep. It was a good sleep. And did you eat? Have you sipped enough water, sweetheart? Hermosa. Have you been here, babe? It was a lovely summer weather in the country, and the golden corn and the green oats, and the haystacks piled up in the meadows looked beautiful. The stork walking about on its long red legs chattered in the Egyptian language, which he had learned from his mother. The cornfields and the meadows were surrounded by large forests, in the midst of which were deep pools. It was indeed delightful to walk about in the country. In the sunny spot stood the pleasant old farmhouse close by a deep river, and from this house down into the water side grew great burdock leaves, so high that under the tallest of them a little child could stand upright. The spot was as wild as the center of a thick wood. In this snug retreat sat a duck on her nest, watching for her young brood to hatch. She was beginning to get tired of this task, for the little ones were a long time coming out of their shells, and she seldom had any visitors. The other ducks liked much better to swim down the river than climb slippery banks and sit under a burdock leaf to have a gossip with her. At length one shell cracked, and then another, and then from each egg came a living creature that lifted its head and cried, "Peep, peep, quack, quack," said the mother, and then they all quacked as well as they could, and looked about on every side at the green or large green leaves. I know, story time, Blob. Yeah. Let me go get something for you, sweetheart, Sophie. Okay? Okay. What old British literature would you like? And after this, I think I want to read Snow White, and then I could probably read British literature. But Joffrey, Chaucer, that is pretty old, but I could try. And Zahi, mi così querida, Zahi. También después del trabajo, pero fue esporádico y poco sensible. satisfactorio. Yeah. There. I could perhaps look it up, sweetheart, too. It all depends. And they all quacked as well as they could and looked about them every side at the large green leaves. Their mother allowed them to look as much as they liked, because green is good for the eyes. How large the world is, said the young ducks, when they found out how much more room they had in a while they were outside their eggshell. Do you imagine this is a whole world? Asked the mother. Wait till you have to see the garden. It stretches far beyond that, to the parson's field. But I have never ventured to such a distance. Are you all out? She continued, rising. No, I declare. The largest shell lies there still. I wonder how long this is to last. I'm quite tired of it. And she seated herself again on the nest. Well, how are you getting on? Asked the old duck who paid her a visit. One egg has not hatched yet, said the duck. It will not break. But look at all the others. Are they not the prettiest little ducklings you ever saw? They are the image of their father, who is so unkind. He never comes to see. Let me see the egg that will not break, said the duck. I have no doubt it's a turkey's egg. I am persuaded to hatch some once, and after all my care and trouble with the young ones, they were afraid of the water. I quacked and I clucked, but all with no purpose. No. Thank you for the follow, Mr. Griffin 86. How are you, my dear? I hope you're well. Ah, Canterbury Tales. Now that is a real old story, isn't it? Let me get back. I quacked and clucked, but all of no purpose. I cannot get them to venture in. Let me look at the egg. Yes, this is a turkey's egg. Take my advice and leave it where it is and teach the other children to swim. I think I will sit on it a little longer, said the duck, as I have sat on it so long already. A few days will be nothing. Please yourself, said the old duck, and she went away. At last the large egg broke again, and the young one crept forth, crying, peep, peep. It was very large and ugly, and the duck stared at it and exclaimed, It is very large and not like the others. I wonder if it really is a turkey. We soon shall find out. However, when we get to the water, I must go in if I have to push myself. I know, sweetie. It's been ages for me, too. Granted, I last read it in school, and because of that, I don't really remember much. Understandably, On the next day, the weather was delightful and the sun shone brightly on the green burdock leaves, so the mother duck took her young brood into the water and jumped in with a splash. Quack, quack, she cried, and one after another, after the other, little ducklings jumped in. The water closed over their heads, but they soon came up again in an instant, and swam about quite prettily with their legs paddling under them as easily as possible, and the ugly duckling was also in the water swimming with them. Oh, said the mother, that is not Turkey. How well he uses his legs. How upright he holds himself. He is my child, and he is not so ugly after all when you put him up properly. Quack, quack. Come with me now, I will take you into grand society and introduce you to the farmyard, but you must keep close to me or you'll be trodden upon, and above all, beware of the cat. When they reached the farmyard, there was a great disturbance. Two families were fighting for an eel's head, which, after all, was carried off by the cat. See, children, that is the way of the world, said the mother duck, wetting her beak, for she would have liked the eel's head herself. Come now, use your legs, and let me see how well you can behave. You must bow your heads prettily to that old duck yonder. She is the highest born of all of them and has Spanish blood. Therefore she is well off. Don't you see she has a red flag tied around her leg, which is something very grand and a great honor for a duck. It shows that everyone is anxious not to lose her, as she can be recognized both man and beast. Come now, don't turn your toes. The well-bred duckling spreads his feet wide apart, just like his father and mother in this way. Now bend your neck and say quack. Now, old people are not say-so at all. I know. Now, let me go scroll down and get back to this. The ducklings did as they were bid, but the other ducks stared and said, "Look, here comes another brood, as if there was not enough of us already. And what a queer-looking object one of them is. We don't want him here." And then one flew out and bit him on the neck. "Let him alone," said the mother. "He is not doing any harm." "Yes, but he is big and ugly," said the spiteful duck. "Therefore he must be turned out." "The others were very pretty children," said the old duck, with a rag on her leg. "But that one, I wish his mother could improve him a little." "That is impossible, your grace," replied the mother. "He is not pretty, but he has a very good disposition and swims as well, or even better than the others. I think he'll grow up very pretty, and perhaps be smaller. He has remained too long in the egg, and therefore his figure is not properly formed." And then she stroked his head, her neck, and smoothed his feathers, saying, "If it's a drake, and therefore not so much of a consequence, I think he'll grow up strong and be able to take care of himself." The other ducklings were graceful enough, and said the old duck, "Now make yourself at home, and if you can find Emil's head, you bring it to me." And so they made themselves comfortable, but the poor duckling, who had crept out of his shell last of all, and looked so ugly, was bitten and pushed and made fun of, not only by the ducks, but by all the poultry. "He is too big," they all said, and the turkey cock, who had been born into the world with spurs and fancied himself really an emperor, puffed himself out like a vessel at full sail, and flew at the duckling, and became quite red in the head with passion, so that the poor little thing did not know where to go, and was quite miserable because he was so ugly and laughed at by the whole farmyard. So it went on from day to day till it got worse and worse. The poor duckling was driven out by but everyone, even his brothers and sisters were unkind to him, and said, "Ah, you ugly creature, I wish the cat would get you." And then his mother said she wished he was never born. The ducks pecked at him, the chickens beat him, and the girl who fed the poultry kicked him with her foot. So at last he ran away, frightening the little birds in the hedge as he flew over the palings. "They're afraid of me because I am ugly," he said. So he closed his eyes and flew still farther, until he came out on a large moor. I could probably read a chapter, because if I remember right, Canterbury Tales are quite long, aren't they, sweetheart? Let me go read this. Until he came to a large moor, inhabited by wild ducks. Here he remained the whole night, feeling very tired and sorrowful. Just a prologue? Okay. In the morning, when the wild ducks rose in the air, they stared at the new comrade. "What sort of duck are you?" they all said, coming round to him. He bowed to them in as polite as he could be, but I am not polite to their question. "You are exceedingly ugly," said the wild ducks, "but that will not matter if you do not want to marry one of our family. Poor thing, he had no thoughts in marriage. All he wanted was permission to lie among the rushes and drink some of the water in the moor. After he had been in the moor for 2 days, there came 2 wild geese, or goslings, for they had not been out of the egg long. They were very saucy. Listen, friend, one of them said to a duckling, you are ugly, but we like you very well. Will you go with us and become a bird of passage? Not far from here is another moor, in which there are some pretty wild geese, all unmarried. It is a chance for you to get a wife. You may get being lucky, ugly as you are. Pop, pop sounded in the air. Oh, thank you for the follow, Superior Funny. How are you, my dear? I hope you're well. Oh my. And Sarah Boo, thank you for the follow. How are you doing, darling? Let me go back to where I was reading, because I think I lost my place. Pop, pop sounded in the air, and the 2 wild geese fell dead among the rushes, and the water was hinged with blood. Oh, Bumleche, welcome in, sweetie. How is Darling Spoon this stream? If I remember right, they're playing the waifu simulator, right? And the water was tinged with blood. Pop, pop echoed far and wide in the distance, and whole flocks of wild geese rose up from the rushes. The sound continued from every direction, for the sportsmen surrounded the moor, and some were even seated on branches of trees overlooking the rushes. The blue smoke rose from the guns like clouds over the dark trees, and as it floated away across the water, a number of sporting dogs bounded in among the rushes which bent beneath them wherever they went. How terrified the poor duckling! He turned away, his head tied under his wing, and at the same moment a large, terrible dog passed quite near him. His jaws were open, his tongue hung from his mouth, and his eyes stared fearfully. He thrust his nose close to the duckling, showing his sharp teeth, and splash, splash, he went into the water without touching him. You've been searching for an ASMR stream for so long, Sarah. Well, I'm happy that you finally found me, sweetheart. Please, if you would like, darling, you can have a free trigger, and all you have to do is just ask. And hi, Fiend. How are you tonight, my dear? Have you been sipping enough water, and have you been well? I hope you've been. Tonight I'm reading The Ugly Duckling, and it's okay. So far it's getting a little bit sad. Japanese massage ASMR? I was in VR once, and a sweet darling just randomly found a Japanese ASMRist, and it was so funny because they were doing a great job. And the contrast between late night cozy time and Japanese ASMR woman wearing cosplay and showing her legs. It was very interesting indeed. And hi, Malk. I hope the talk in main base is going well, sweetie. And you're feeling a little stressed today, Fiend? I understand. It's one of those days, isn't it? I know. Let me go do a little stretch. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. ASMR used as advertising wouldn't really be too different. After all, I can just write it off as a massage. Anyway, I'm going to pour my tea in my cup and get to more reading. After this, we'll read the prologue to Canterbury Tales, and perhaps Snow White, or perhaps just the last chapter of Winnie the Pooh, because I want that to be the last story for tonight, and it sounds very cozy. And Bomleche, if you're still here, sweetheart, please go and tell Darling Spoons that they're allowed to enjoy it. Now, let me go fill this up with tea, and I'll get right back to reading. Exactly. It's great stuff. Now, back to sipping this delicious peppermint tea. Hi, sweetest Koha. I have a question for you, dear. Did Darling Jess end stream? I kind of worried about them tonight because it sounded like they were going to eat and pass out. But they were just trying to get their number in, you know. Now, back to the ugly duckling. How thankful I am for being so ugly, even the dog would not bite me. And so he lay quite still, while the shot rattled through the rushes and the gun after gun was fired over him. It was late in the day before all became quiet. He didn't see them online. Thank you, sweet Robin. Thank you, sweet Koha. Now please rest and enjoy. While I enjoy these streams, I don't know if people enjoy them too. It kind of makes me worried. Oh. Yeah. Just make sure they're healthy and quite good. It was late in the day before all became quiet. Even the poor young thing did not dare move. He waited for several hours and then, after looking carefully around him, hastened away from the moor as fast as he could. He ran over field and meadow till a storm arose, and he could hardly struggle against it. Towards evening he reached a poor little cottage where it seemed ready to fall, the only remaining standing because it could not decide which way to fall first. The storm continued so violent that the duckling could go no farther. He sat down by the cottage, and when he noticed that the door was not quite closed in consequence of one of the hinges had given way, there was therefore a narrow opening near the large bottom, enough for him to slip through, which he did very quietly and got shelter for a night. A woman, a tomcat, and a hen lived in this cottage. The tomcat, whom the mistress called my little son, was a great favorite. He would raise his back, purr, and could even throw out little sparks from his fur if it were stroked a long way. And the hen had very short legs, so she was called Chicky Short Legs. She laid good eggs, and her mistress loved her, for if she had been her own child. In the morning, the strange visitor was discovered, and the tomcat began to purr, and the chicken to cluck. "What is this noise about?" said the old woman, looking round the room, but her sight was not very good. Therefore, when she saw the duckling, she thought it must have been a fat duck that had strayed from home. "Oh, what a prize!" she exclaimed. "I hope it's not a drake, for then I shall have some duck eggs. I must wait and see. So the duckling was allowed to remain for a trial for 3 weeks. But there are no eggs. Now the tomcat was the master of the house, and the hen was the mistress. And they always said, "we in the world," for they believed themselves to be half the world, and the better half too. The duckling thought that the others must hold a different opinion on the subject, but when the hen would not listen to such doubts. "Can you lay eggs?" she asked. "No." "Then have the goodness to hold your tongue. Can you raise your back?" "Purr for old spark," said the tomcat. "No." "Then you have no right to express an opinion when sensible people are speaking." So the duckling sat in the corner, feeling very low-spirited, till the sunshine and fresh air came into the room through the open door. Then he began to feel a great longing for a swim in the water that he could not help telling the hen. "An absurd idea," said the hen. "You have nothing else to do, therefore you have foolish fantasies. If you could purr on my eggs, they would pass away." "Good night, sweetie. Below. May you dream well and sleep well. And okay. I see. You're resting. If you need help finding the Canterbury Tales, I have a textbook." Okay. Just close those wonderful eyes, sweet Blow, and drift off to rest, okay? "But it's so delightful to have a swim by in the water," said the duckling, "and it is so refreshing to feel it against your head when you dive down to the bottom." "Delightful indeed," said the hen. "Why, it must be crazy. Ask the cat. He is the cleverest animal I know. Ask him how he could have us swim about in the water or dive under it, for I will not speak my own opinion. Ask our mistress, the old woman there, if no one in the world more clever than she is. Do you think she would like to swim, or let the water close over her head?" "You do not understand me," said the duckling. "We do not understand you. Who can understand you, I wonder? Do you consider yourself more clever than the cat or the old woman? I will say nothing of myself. Don't believe such nonsense, child, and thank for your good fortune that you have been received here. You are not in a warm room and in society, from which you may learn something, but you are a chatterer, and your company is not very agreeable. Believe me, I speak only for my own good. I may tell you unpleasant truths, but as a proof of my friendship, I advise you therefore to lay eggs, or learn to purr as quick as possible." "I believe I must go in the world again," said the duckling. "Yes, do," said the hen. So the duckling left the cottage and soon found water under which it could swim and dive, but was avoided by other animals because of its ugly presence. Autumn came, and the leaves in the forest turned orange and gold, and then, as winter approached, the wind caught them as they fell in the world in a cold air. The clouds, heavy from hail and snowflakes, hung low in the sky, and the ravens stood on the ferns crying croak, croak. It made one shiver with a cold to look at him. It was very sad for the poor little duckling. One evening, just as the sun set amid the radiant clouds, there came a large flock of beautiful birds out of the bushes. The duckling had never seen any like them before. They were swans, and they curved their graceful necks, while their soft plumage shone with dazzling whiteness. They uttered a singular cry as they spread their glorious wings and flew away from those cold regions to warmer countries across the sea. As they mounted higher and higher in the air, the ugly duckling felt quite a strange sensation when he watched them. He whirled himself from the water like a wheel, stretched out his neck towards them, and uttered a cry so strange that he frightened himself. Could he ever forget those beautiful happy birds when at last they were out of his sight? He dived under the water and rose again, almost beside himself with excitement. He knew not the names of these birds, nor that they had flown, but he felt towards them as he had never felt for any other bird in the world. He was not envious of these beautiful creatures, but wished to be as lovely as they are. Poor ugly duckling, how gladly he would have loved to live, even with those ducks, had they given him encouragement. The winter grew colder and colder, and he was obliged to swim about on the water to keep it from freezing. But every night the space on which he swam became smaller and smaller. Smaller and smaller. At length it froze so hard that the ice in the cold water cracked as he moved, and the duckling had to paddle with his legs as well as he could to keep the space from closing. He became exhausted at last and lay still and helpless, frozen last in the ice. Early in the morning, a pheasant who was passing by saw what happened. He broke the ice in pieces with his wooden shoe and carried the duckling home to his wife. The warmth revived the poor little creature, but when the children wanted to play with him, the duckling thought they would have to do him some harm. So he started up in terror, fluttered in the milk pan, and splashed the milk into a room. When the woman clapped her hands and frightened him still more, he flew first into the barcass, then into the meal tub, and out again. What a condition he was in! The woman screamed and struck him with the tongs. The children laughed and screamed and tumbled over each other in their efforts to catch him, but luckily he escaped. The door stood open. The poor creature could just manage to slip out among the bushes and lie down quite exhausted and nearly fell in snow. It would be very sad were I to relate the misery and privations which the poor little duckling endured during hard winter. But when it passed, he found himself lying one morning in a moor among the rushes. He felt the warm sun shining and heard the lark singing, and saw that all around was a beautiful spring. And when the young bird felt that his wings were strong, as he flapped them against his sides and rose high into the air, they bore him onwards until he found himself in a large garden. Before he well knew what happened, the apple trees were in full blossom, and the fragrant elders bent their long green branches down to the stream, which wound around a smooth lawn. Everything looked beautiful, in the freshness of early spring. From the thicket close by came 3 beautiful white swans, rustling their feathers and swimming lightly over the smooth water. The duckling remembered the ugly birds and felt more strangely unhappy than before. "I will fly to those royal birds," he exclaimed, "and they will kill me, because I am so ugly and dare to approach them. But it does not matter. Better be killed by them than pecked by the ducks, beaten by the hens, pushed about by the maiden who feeds the poultry, or starved with hunger in the winter." And he flew to the water and swam towards the beautiful swans. The moment they espied the stranger, they rushed to meet him with outstretched wings. "Oh, this is getting rather sadder and sadder by the minute." "Kill me," said the poor bird, and he bent his head down to the surface of the water and awaited death. But he did not see, in the clear stream below, his own image. It was no longer a dark gray bird, ugly and disagreeable to look at, but a graceful, beautiful swan. To be born in a duck's nest in a farmyard is of no consequence to a bird, if it is hatched from a swan's egg. He now felt glad at having suffered sorrow and trouble, because it enabled him to enjoy so much better the pleasures and happiness around him. For the greatest swans swam round in a corner and stroked his neck with their beaks as a welcome. In the garden presently came some little children, who threw bread and cake into the water. "See," cried the youngest, "there is a new one," and the rest were delighted, and ran to their father and mother, dancing and clapping their hands and shouting joyfully, "There is another swan, a new one has arrived." Then they threw more bread and cake into the water and said, "The new one is the most beautiful of all. He is so young and pretty." And the wild swans bowed their heads before him, and he felt quite ashamed and hid his head under his wing, for he did not know what to do. He was so happy, and yet so proud, and yet not at all proud. He had been persecuted and despised for his ugliness, And now he heard that he was the most beautiful of all the birds. Even the elder tree bent down his bows into the water before him, and the sun shone warm and bright. Then he rustled his feathers and curved his slender neck, and cried joyfully from the depths of his heart, "I never dreamed of such happiness as this, while I was the ugly duckling." The end. And that was the ugly duckling. Canterbury Tales. My oh my. Oh my, this is a big giant prologue. My oh my, Blow. Are you still here, darling Blow? I don't know if you are, but I hope that if you are, I'll read to you a few lines of the Canterbury Tales, because let's be honest, it is long. And darling Blow, if you're not here, I may just go and read a different story. Perhaps Snow White. That might be a good one to read. The Snow Queen? Oh my. That's a long story. I'm assuming it's by Hans Christian Andersen. Yeah. Father Frost. Snow White. There we go. Let's go read Snow White instead. There we have it. Snow White. There once was a queen who had no children. It grieved her sorely. One winter's afternoon, while she was sitting by the window, sewing, when she had pricked her finger, and 3 drops of blood fell on the snow. Then she thought to herself, "Ah, what would I give to have a daughter with skin as white as snow, and cheeks as red as blood?" Well, after a while, little daughter came to her with skin as white as snow and cheeks as red as blood. So they called her Snow White. But before Snow White had grown up, her mother, the queen, died, and her father married again, a most beautiful princess, who was very vain of her beauty, and jealous of woman who might be as as beautiful as she was, and every morning she used to stand in front of her mirror and say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all?" And the mirror always used to reply, "Queen, queen, on thy throne, the greatest beauty is thy own." You love that, Sarah? That's just one of the quirks of the model. I'm pretty sure I had to figure out how to disable it, but that's okay. Would you like to see the other model, sweetheart? It's this one. No tummy. Yeah. Yeah. Think model. It's really cute, isn't it, that one? Now, back to the blue. That's one of my It's my favorite model, to be honest with you. It's enchanting. And that's why I like it. Oh, wrong model. I suppose that happens sometimes. There. That's better. There. Now, back to story time, shall we? But Snow White grew fairer and fairer each year, till at last one day when the Queen in the morning spoke to her mirror and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all?" The mirror replied, "Queen, queen, on thy throne, Snow White's the fairest, thou must own." Oh, hi Roxy, sweetheart. How are you tonight, my dear? Tonight I am reading Snow White, and then after this, depending on my state of tiredness, I may read, I may read the very last chapter of Winnie the Pooh. So, that should be cozy. But how are you tonight, my darling Roxy? I hope you sipped plenty of water and that you have been well. And good kitty. Good kitty. Good kitty. Good, good kitty. Good kitty. Good kitty. Good kitty. Good, good kitty. And hi, darling Nicola. How are you tonight? Have you sipped plenty of water? And have you been healthy? And Roxy, did you sip enough water today too? You need the water. Okay. Then the Queen grew terribly jealous of Snow White and thought how she could get rid of her, till at last she went to a hunter and engaged him for a large sum of money to take Snow White out into the forest and kill her there and bring her back her heart. You promise you drank enough water, sweet Roxy? Darling, I hope you did, 'cause I want you to be the healthiest you can be, okay? Many hugs, of course. Many hugs. And sweetheart Nicola, you're very youpy. Okay. I'll give you a sniff, and then I'll go back to reading this, making sure that you rest. You drank a gallon in 2 days? okay, sweetie? But she got no reply. She was so tired that she lifted up the latch and walked in. And there she saw 3 little beds and 3 little chairs and 3 little cupboards all ready for use. And she went back up to the first bed and lay down upon it, but it was so hard that she couldn't rest. And when she went up to the second bed and lay down upon it, that was so soft that she got too hot and couldn't go to sleep. So she tried the third bed, but that was neither too hard nor too soft. But it suited her exactly, and she fell asleep there. Okay. I actually have it too on my little website for stories, so I'll get the prologue there too, sweetheart. In the evening, the owners of the hut should only be 2 pages. Perhaps my prologue is a different one. UwU. Because mine seems to go on forever. I think there's actually an ASMR reading channel, or it's been taken out by Sweetheart, Beans. I can't really remember, sweetie. If it isn't there, then just DM it to me. Who were these 3 little dwarves who earned their living by dragging coal in the hills, come back to their home, and when they came back, after they had washed themselves? Oh, yep, ASMR book suggestions. I think it's that. There. Yep, there. When they came in after they had washed themselves, they went to their beds, and the first of them said, "Somebody has been sleeping in my bed." Then the second one said, "Somebody has been sleeping in my bed." Then the third one called out in a shrill voice, for he was so excited, "Somebody is sleeping in my bed, and look how beautiful she is." So they waited till she woke up, and asked her how she had come there, and she told them all that the hunter had said to her about the queen wanting to slay her. Then the dwarves asked her if she could be willing to stop with them and keep house for them, and she said that she would be delighted. Next morning the queen went up as usual to her mirror and called out, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror answered as usual, "Queen, queen on thy throne, Snow White's the fairest thou hast known." And the queen knew that Snow White had not been slain. For so she sent for the hunter and made him confess that he had let Snow White go, and she made him search about beyond the forest, till at last he brought back word to her that Snow White was dwelling in a little hut on the hill with some coal miners. Then the queen dressed herself up like an old woman, and upon taking a poisoned comb with her, went back the next day to the hut where Snow White was living. Now the dwarves had warned her not to open the door to anyone else, or anybody, lest evil might befall her, so she found it very lonesome, keeping always within doors. When the queen, disguised as an old woman, came to the door of the house, she knocked upon it with her stick. But Snow White called from within, "Who is it? Go away. I must not let anybody come in." "All right," answered Snow White, "but if you come to the window we can have a little chat there, and I can show you my wares." So when Snow White came to the window and said, "Oh, what beautiful black hair. You ought to have a comb to bind it up," and she showed her the comb that she had brought with her. But Snow White said, "I have no money and cannot afford to buy such a fine comb." Also, as a random side note, My lips have been so dry recently. Ooh. Oh my, Boba. Or pull paper. I hope you're okay. Seems like many people this time of year are sick or in the hospital. And it's kind of worrying, you know, sweetie. Don't know yet? Okay, I wish you the best, sweetheart. And my legs, Sayang. How are you tonight, my dear? I'm reading wonderful cozy stories, and I hope you're enjoying it. A kidney stone. My. That does sound rather worrying, sweetie, but I believe in you. But Snow White said, I have no money and cannot afford to buy so fine a comb. Then the queen said, that is no matter. Perhaps you have something golden that you can get in exchange. And while Snow White thought of a golden ring that her father had given her and offered it for the comb, the queen took it and gave Snow White the comb and bade her goodbye and went back to the palace. Snow White lost no time in going to the mirror and binding up her hair and putting the comb into it, but had scarcely been in her hair for a few minutes when she fell down as if she were dead, and all the blood left her cheeks, and she was Snow White indeed. That burp. Do you like my burps, darling? Saya? And your skin gets super dry and country during the winter, so... Yeah, I was thinking about putting Vaseline on it too, sweetie. I can really feel it. And Koha, you're still there. Thank you, sweetie. Have a kiss for doing the video. Oh, it's a public holiday for you, Molag Sam. I'm very glad to hear. Then, Sam, that's perfectly okay. You deserve a kiss for that. Playing Fall Guys? I should really try Fall Guys at some point. I only played it once last year, and that was pretty much it. Now, back to reading. When the dwarves came home that evening, they were surprised to find that the table has not been spread for them. And looking about, they soon found Snow White lying upon the ground as if she were dead. But one of them listened to her heart and said, she lives, she lives. And they began to consider what caused Snow White to fall in such a swoon. They soon found the comb, and when they took it out, Snow White soon opened her eyes and became as lovely as ever she was before. Next morning, the queen went to the mirror on the wall and said, Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all? Then the mirror said as before, Queen, queen on thy throne, Snow White's the fairest that must own. When the queen knew that something had happened to the comb and that Snow White was still alive, so she dressed herself once more as the old woman, and took her to her poisoned ribbon, and went to the hut of the three dwarves, and when she got there, she knocked on the door, but Snow White called out, You cannot enter, I must not open the door. Then as before, the queen called out in reply, Then come to the window and you can see my wares. When Snow White came to the window, the queen said, You are looking more beautiful than ever. But how becoming you arrange your hair. Did you use that comb I gave you yesterday? Yes, indeed, said Snow White, but I fell into a swoon because of it. I am afraid there is something the matter with it. No, that cannot be, said the queen. There must be some mistake. If you cannot use that comb, I want you to have a pretty ribbon instead. And she held out the poisoned ribbon. Snow White took it, and after the old woman, as as she thought she was, had gone away. Snow White went to the mirror and tied up her hair with a piece of ribbon, but scarcely had she done so when she fell to the ground lifeless, and lay there as if she were dead. Oh my. You'd expect her not to take anything from the mysterious old woman, but apparently not. That evening the dwarves came home and found Snow White lying on the ground as if dead, but soon discovered the poisoned ribbon and untied it, and almost as soon as this was done, Snow White revived again. The next morning the queen went once more to the mirror on the wall and called out, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" To which the mirror replied without any change, "Queen, queen, on thy throne, Snow White's the fairest thou must own." And the queen recognized that once again her plans had failed, and Snow White was still alive, so she dressed herself once more and took with her a poisoned apple, which was arranged so that only one half of it was poisoned, and the rest was left as before. And when the queen got to the dwarves, she tried to open the door, but Snow White called out, Exactly, Blow. Exactly. You can't come in. Then I'll come to the window, said the queen. Ah, you're the old lady that came twice. You have not brought me good luck. Each time something has befallen me. But the queen said, I do not know how that can be. I only brought you something for your hair. Perhaps you tied it too tight. To show you that I have no ill will against you, I have brought to you this beautiful apple. But my guardians, said Snow White, told me that I must not take anything more from you. Oh, this is nothing to wear, said the queen. This is something to eat. To show you that there can be no harm from it, I will take half of it myself, and you shall eat the other half. So she cut the apple in two and gave the poisoned half to Snow White, and the moment she had swallowed the first bite of it, she fell down dead. Ah. Scarlet Rose, thank you for the follow, sweetie. How are you doing tonight, darling? I hope you're doing absolutely slay. And if you like Scarlet, you can get yourself a free trigger. Let me scroll down a little bit more. So she cut the apple in two and gave the poisoned half to Snow White, and the moment she had swallowed the first bite of it, she fell down dead. Then the queen slunk away and went back to the palace, and went at once to her chamber and addressed the mirror on the wall. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all? And then this time the mirror answered, as it used to, Queen, queen on thy throne, the greatest beauty is thine own. And do you want kisses, Scarlet? Okay, I'll do some kisses now. Oh no, it's not the end of Blow. There's still more to it, sweetheart. And thank you, sweet Scarlet. It means a lot. Then the queen knew. A cliffhanger? No. Then the queen knew that Snow White was dead last, and that she was out without a rival in beauty. When the dwarves came home that night, they found Snow White lying upon the ground, quite dead, and could not find out what happened or how to cure her. But, though she seemed dead, Snow White kept her beautiful white skin and seemed more like a statue than a dead person. So the dwarves made a glass coffer and put Snow White in it and locked it up. She remained there for days and days without the slightest change, looking oh so beautiful under the glass case. Now a great prince of a neighboring country happened to be hunting near the hill of the dwarves, and called at their hut to get a glass of water. And when he came in, he found nobody there but Snow White lying in her glass coffer, and he fell at once in love with her and sat by her side till the dwarves came in. And he asked them who she was, and they told him her history, and he begged that he might carry the coffer away so that he might always have her near. At first they did not do so, but he showed him how much he loved her, and at last yielded. And he called for his men to carry the coffer home to his palace. And when the men commenced carrying the coffer down the mountain, they jolted it so much that the piece of the poisoned apple in Snow White's throat fell out, and she revived and opened her eyes and looked upon the prince, who was riding by her side. Then he ordered the coffer to be opened, and told her all that had happened, and he took her home to a castle and married her. After this happened, the queen once more came into her room and spoke to the mirror on the wall and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" This time the mirror said again, "Queen, queen on thy throne, Snow White's the fairest thou must own." And the queen was so enraged because she had not destroyed Snow White that she rushed to the window and threw herself out of it and died on the spot. And that is the end of Snow White. Now, I'll go pull up the last chapter of Winnie the Pooh. Oh, my, thank you, Blue. Thank you, sweetie. Now, let me go look at this. Oh my, I'm really going to have to really open that. The Miller's Prologue. Oh my, let me go double check this here. Okay, I can read it. Okay, like Canterbury Tales. Yeah, it's not as long as the one I had. Perhaps this is just the shortest prologue? I don't quite know. The Miller's Prologue. Here fallen the words between the host and miller. When that the knight hath thus his tale told, all in the rout. How do you read this? Do I have to read? This is some real old English, isn't it, sweetheart? Actually, let me just look up Canterbury Tales. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't need weird consonants at the end of my words. Canterbury Tales. I definitely misspelled that. Here. There. Canterbury Tales. Okay, you want me to just read the Miller's Tale, the prologue? Because you have to understand there's the following. The prologue. Notes to the prologue. The Knight's Tale. Notes to the Knight's Tale. The Miller's Tale, the prologue, which is why I think you actually sent me. The Miller's Tale. Notes to the Miller's Tale. The Reeves Tale, the prologue. I'll just read the Miller's Tale, the prologue. Oh yeah. The prologue, the Miller's Tale. There. When that the knight had thus his tale told, in all the rout was neither young nor old, that he not said it was a noble story, and worthy to be drawn to memory recorded. And namely the gentles every one, especially the gentle folk. Our host then laughed and swore, so may I go on prosper. This goes aright, unbuckled is the mail, the budget is opened. Let's see now who shall tell another tale, for truly this game is well begun. Now telleth ye, Sir Monk, that if ye come, I know somewhat to quitten with the Knight's Tale match. The miller that for drunken was all pale, so that underneath his horse he sat with difficulty. He would unbaden underneath neither hood nor hat, uncovered nor abide, no man for his courtesy give away, but in Pilate's voice he began to cry and swore by arms and by blood and bones. I can a noble tale for the nuns, occasion for or with which I will now quite the Knight's Tale matcher host saw, how well drunk he was of ale, and said, Robin bade my lave, dear, some better men shall tell us first another, abide, let us work thriftily, by God's soul, quoth he. That will not I, for I will speak, or else go my way. Our host answered, tell on a devil's way, devil take you. Thou art a fool, thy wit is overcome. Now hearketh, quoth the miller, and all in sum. But first I make a prosecution, that I am drunk, I know it by my own son, and therefore thy misspeak or say, right with the ale of Southwark, I you pray, blame it on you, I blame it on you. For I will tell a legend and the life of both a carpenter and his wife, that, or how that the clerk hath set their right cap, fooled the carpenter. The reeve answered and said, stint thy cap, hold your tongue, let it be thy due drunken harlotry. It is a sin and eke a great folly to appear in any man or him to feign injure, and eke to bring wives in evil's name. Thou mayest enough of others things sayin. This drunken miller spake full soon again, and said, Leve, brother Oswald, who hath no wife, he is no cock. But I say not therefore that thou art one. There will be good wives, many one. Why art thou angry with my tale now? I have a wife, party as well as thou. Yet, though old than I for the oxen my plough, I would not taken upon me more than enough. Ah! Gusto. Hola, hola, hola. ¿Qué tal, gusto? ¿Qué tal? How are you, my dear? Have you sipped enough tea, enough water or coffee today? Oh, I know, bro, but it's in pretty old English, isn't it? What is that, Mo? Horrible. I'll just open that up so I can look at it. The mustache is just like yours. Impressive. Impressive indeed. Let me show you another. Don't look. No looking. Oh, that's the wrong window. No looking, okay. Nope, no looking. See? It's even bigger now. Isn't it great? It's the greatest mustache in the whole world. But, hey gusto, you, my darling, get a free trigger. And all you had to do is just ask, okay? So find one you would like, and enjoy, okay? And after this story, by the way, I'm going to read the very last Winnie the Pooh. Yes, Scarlet? Why are you using your policeman note on me? Have you something to say? Here. That's why I reply with. Okay. Back to this one, and back to reading a ye olden story. There. Even better. I'm going to quickly scroll up in this. Exactement, Scarlet, exactement. Taken upon me more than enough to dearmen of myself that I am one judge. I will believe well that I am none. A husband should not be inquisitive of gold's pretty, nor of his wife, so that he find gold's poison, or good's poison, their treasure. Of the remnant needeth not be inquire. What should I say more, but that this Millery, he would his words for no man forbear, but told his churlish tale in this manner, boorish rude methinketh, that I shall rehearse it here, and therefore every gentle right I pray, for good's love to deem not what I say. Of evil intent that I must rehearse, their tales all be better or worse, or else fallen of something the matter. And therefore whoso listeth not to hear, turn over the leaf and choose another tale, for he shall find enough both great and small, of historical thing that toucheth gentleness, true and eke morality and holiness. Blame me not, if that ye chooses amiss. The miller is a churl, you know this well. So was the reeve of many other moe, and harlotry they told both two. Now and put me out of blame, be warned and eke, men shall not make earnest the game, jest, fun, notes to the prologue's tale. Now, the current tale is Winnie the Pooh. Let me go scratch or stretch. And darlings, I will give you a little warning. This is going to be the sadder episode, or sadder parts. It's the last of 10 chapters of Winnie the Pooh, and it is going to be rather sad, darlings. So, please get ready and enjoy. I'm going to sip some tea, and let's hope you're all ready. Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. Chapter 10, in which Christopher Robin gives Pooh a party and they say goodbye. One day when the sun... Exactly, Gusto. Si, mi amigo. Yes. Yeah, I don't know the word for comfy or relaxing. One day when the sun had come back over the forest, bringing with it the scent of May, and all the streams of the forest were tinkling happily to find themselves their own pretty shape again, and the little pools lay dreaming of the life they had seen, and the big things they had done, and in the warmth and quiet of the forest the cuckoo was trying over his voice carefully, and listening to see if he liked it. The wood pigeons were complaining gently to themselves in their lazy, comfortable way that it was the other fellow's fault, and it didn't matter very much on such a day as this. Christopher Robin whistled in a special way he had, and the owl came flying out of the 100-acre wood to see what was wanted. Owl, said Christopher Robin, I'm going to give a party. You are you? Said Owl. And it has to be a special sort of party, because of what Pooh did. When he did what he did to save Piglet from the flood. Oh, that's what it's for, is it? Said Owl. Yes, so you let Pooh tell as quickly as he can and all the others, because it will be tomorrow. Oh, will it? Said Owl, still being as helpful as possible. So will you go and tell them, Owl? Owl tried to think of something very wise to say, but couldn't, so he flew off to tell the others, and the first person he told was Pooh. Pooh, he said, Christopher Robin's giving a party. Oh, said Pooh. Oh, hi, Panther. How are you, my dear? Did you sip enough water? Have you been good? Have you been a good, wonderful darling? So wonderful and amazing. I bet you are, sweetheart. I'm currently reading the very last story of Winnie the Pooh. I'm a little bit tired, so do confuse me for that, sweetheart, but you're doing fine, sweetie. I'm glad, because you're wonderful and amazing, and certainly deserve it. Oh, said Pooh, then seeing that Owl expected him to say something else, he said, will there be those little cake things with pink sugar icing? Owl felt that it was rather beneath him to talk about little cake things with pink sugar icing, so he told Pooh exactly what Christopher Robin said, and flew off to Eeyore. "A party for me," thought Pooh to himself. "How grand!" And he began to wonder if all the other animals would know of his special Pooh party, and if Christopher Robin had told them about the floating bear and the brain of Pooh, and all the wonderful ships he had invented and sailed on. And he began to think of how awful it would be if everybody had forgotten about it, and nobody quite knew what the party was for. And the more he thought like this, the more the party got muddled in his mind. Like a dream when nothing goes right. When the dream began to sing itself over in his head until it became a sort of song. It was Anxious Pooh song. 3 cheers for Pooh. For whom? For Pooh. Why, what did he do? I thought you knew. He saved his friend from a wedding. 3 cheers for Boo, for Bear. For where? For Bear. He couldn't swim, but he rescued him. He rescued who? Oh, listen, do. I'm talking of Pooh. Of who? Of Pooh. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. Well, Pooh was a bear of enormous brain. Just say it again. Of enormous brain. Of enormous what? Well, he ate a lot. I don't know if he could swim or not. But he managed to float on a sort of boat. On what sort of what? Well, a sort of pot. So now let's give him 3 hearty cheers. So now let's give him 3 hearty witches. And hope he'll be with us for years and years, and grow in health and wisdom and riches. 3 cheers for Pooh. For who? For Pooh. 3 cheers for Bear. For where? For Bear. 3 cheers for the wonderful Winnie the Pooh. Just tell me, somebody, what did he do? While this was going on inside him, Owl was talking to Eeyore. Eeyore said, "Owl, Christopher Robin is giving a party." "Very interesting," said Eeyore. "I suppose they'll be sending me down the odd bits which I got trodden on. Kind and thoughtful? Not at all. Don't mention it. There is an invitation for you." What's that like? An invitation? Yes, I heard. Who dropped it? This isn't anything to eat. It's asking you to be at the party tomorrow. Eeyore shook his head slowly. "You mean Piglet, the little fellow with excited ears. That's Piglet. They'll tell him." No, said Owl, getting quite fussy. "It's you. Are you sure?" "Of course I'm sure." Christopher Robin said all of them. "Tell all of them." "All of them except Eeyore?" "All of them," said Owl sulkily. "Ah, a mistake. No doubt, but still I shall come. Only don't blame me if it rains." It didn't rain. Christopher Robin made a long table out of some long pieces of wood, and they all sat round it. Christopher Robin sat at one end, and Pooh sat at the other, and between them on one side were Owl, Eeyore, and Piglet, and between them on the other were Rabbit, Roo, and Conga, and all Rabbit's friends and relations spread themselves out on the grass and waited hopefully in case anybody spoke to them, or dropped anything, or asked them the time. It was the first party to which Pooh had never been, or Roo had ever been, and he was very excited. As soon as ever they sat down, he began to talk. "Hello, Pooh," he squeaked. "Hello, Roo," said Pooh. Roo jumped and down in his seat for a little while, then began again. "Hello, Piglet," he squeaked. Piglet waved at him, too busy to say anything. "Hello, Eeyore," said Roo. Eeyore nodded gloomily at him. "It'll rain soon, you'll see if it doesn't," he said. Roo looked to see if it didn't, and it didn't. So he said, "Hello, Owl," and Owl said, "Hello, my little fellow," and a kindly wave, and went on telling Christopher Robin about an accident which nearly happened to his friend, of who Christopher Robin didn't know. And Conga said to Roo, "Drink your milk first, dear, and talk afterwards." So Roo, who was drinking his milk, tried to say that he could do both at once, and had to be patted on the back and dried for a long time afterwards. When they all had nearly eaten enough, Christopher Robin banged on the table with a spoon. Everybody stopped talking. It was very silent except Rue, who was finishing a loud attack of hiccups and trying to look as if one of Rabbit's relations. This party, said Christopher Robin, is a party because it was of what someone did, and we all know who it was, and it's his party because of what he did, and he got a present for him, and then he felt a little whisper, and where is it? While he was looking, Eeyore coughed in an impressive way and began to speak. Friends, he including oddments, it is a great pleasure, and perhaps I better say it's been a great pleasure so far to see you at my party. What I did was nothing. Any of you except Rabbit, Owl, or Conga have done the same, and oh pooh, my remarks do not of course apply to Piglet and Roo because they are too small. Any of you could have done the same, it just happened to be me. It was not. I need hardly say of a great deal of getting what Christopher Robin is looking for now, and he put his front leg in front of his mouth, try under a table, that I did what I did, because I feel that we should all do what we can to help. I feel that we should all... Hop, said Roo accidentally. Roo, dear, said Conga reproachfully. Was it me? Asked Roo, a little surprised. What's Eeyore talking about? Piglet whispered to Pooh. I don't know, said Pooh rather doubtfully. I thought this was your party. I thought it was once, but I suppose it isn't. It's sooner it was yours than Eeyore's, said Piglet. So would I, said Pooh. Hic, said Roo again. As I was saying, Eeyore loudly and sternly, as I was saying when I was interrupted by various loud sounds, I feel that here it is, cried Christopher Robin excitedly. Pass it down to silly old Pooh. It's for Pooh. For Pooh, said Eeyore. Of course it is, the best bear in all the world. Give me just a second. I'm just trying to find the right thing. There we go. I'll put that right there. I might have known, said Eeyore. After all, one can't complain. I have my friends. Somebody spoke to me only yesterday, and it was last week or the week before that Rabbit bumped into me and said, Bother, the social round, always something going on. Nobody was listening, for they were always saying, Open it, Pooh. What is it, Pooh? I know what it is. No, you don't. Other helpful remarks of this sort. Of course, Pooh was opening it as quickly as he could ever, but without cutting the string, because you never know what bit of string might be useful. Ah. Oh yeah, I'm using my older model right now. Toasty roasty. Toasty roasty. Toasty roasty. Toasty roasty. Toasty roasty. Toasty roasty. It's all okay, dear. How have you been, darling? I hope you sipped plenty of water and that you have been healthy, sweetheart. Let me go and... At last, it was undone. Then, now to scroll down a little bit more and get to it. You've been good. I'm glad to hear, sweetie. Would you like me to switch back to the deer model? I can if you want me to. But feel free to do some redeems if you want to, sweetheart. When Pooh saw what it was, he He nearly fell down. He was so pleased that his special pencil case were marked with a B for bear, and pencils marked HB for helping bear, and pencils marked BB for brave bear. There was a knife for sharpening the pencils, an India rubber for rubbering out anything they had spelt wrong, and a ruler for ruling lines for the words to walk on, and inches marked on the ruler in case you wanted to know how many inches anything was, and blue pencils and red pencils and green pencils for saying special things in red, or blue, red, and green. All those lovely things were in little pockets of their own in a special case, which shut with a click when you clicked it, and they were all for Pooh. Oh, said Pooh. Oh, Pooh, said everybody else except Eeyore. Thank you, growled Pooh. But Eeyore was saying to himself, this writing business, pencils and whatnot, overrated if you ask me. Silly stuff, nothing in it. Later on, when they all said goodbye and thank you to Christopher Robin, Pooh and Piglet walked home thoughtfully together in the golden evening. For a long time they were silent. The urge was very ordained. Okay. And Cairo 3151. How are you, my dear? I hope you're well. Now, would you like me to do Midwest, Southern, or Cali bro accent, sweetie? I can do any toasty roasty. But let me go do the Cali bro voice. When you wake up in the morning, Pooh, said Piglet at last, what's like the first thing you say to yourself? Oh, you're a little tipsy, broski. That's A-okay. I can call you a good girl, or a good boy, or a good angel, whatever you like, Cairo. And you get a free trigger for following me, sweetheart. And like, what's for breakfast, said Pooh. What do you say, Piglet? I say, I wonder what's going to happen exciting today, said Piglet. Pooh nodded thoughtfully. It's the same thing, he said. And what did happen, asked Christopher Robin. When? Next morning. I don't know. Could you think and tell me, Pooh, sometime? If you wanted it very much. Pooh does, said Christopher Robin. He gave a deep sigh, picked his bear up by the leg, and walked off to the door, trailing Winnie Pooh behind him. At the door he turned and said, Coming to see me have a bath? I might, he said. Was Pooh's pencil case better than mine? It was just the same, I said. He nodded and went out, and in a moment I heard Winnie the Pooh bump and bump going up the stairs behind him. Good doggy, toasty roasty. Good doggy, toasty roasty. And it is Winnie the Pooh. It's actually the very last story, indeed. So, here, sweetheart, let me go say the very last thing to you. The end. And that was Winnie the Pooh, Chapter 10, the end. I hope you had a very cozy time with that, sweetheart. There. Can't think straight. Okay. Cairo, broski, broette, you'll get a free trigger, and all you have to do is say what makes you real cozy. For some people, it's like getting called a good boy, or like a good girl. But like, what do you want? 'Cause that's like what matters, isn't it? Oh, hi, darling freeze. How are you, my dear? I hope you're doing well and very cozy tonight. I had to crack my back. But, I'm trying to think. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good girl. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. And hi, foxes. How are you tonight, sweetie? And Freeze, you got a bit of a migraine and you're just waiting for it to break. Okay, that's all okay, sweetheart. I just want to make sure that you are very cozy tonight. And Cryo, did Raisin have a stream tonight? They're always cozy and fun to listen to. And you're quite tired and you're very much in pain. Now, I don't have terribly long until I pass out here. I just like using as emotes. That's okay. As long as you're comfy and cozy and just stay in sleep. Okay. Now, lest I forget. Toasted coconut. Toasted coconut. Toasted coconut. Toasted coconut. Toasted coconut. Toasted coconut. Oh, who is his manager? Why listen to them? It's not often enough that I know the intricate details. So, if you want, just arrow milk. Okay. That's probably why I don't recognize it. Now, let me go save this to stream. If you have any redeems you'd like, do them all, sweethearts. Okay? Arabic. Okay. And if I have a redeem that's paused, just say so and you can have it for free. Crunchy pumpkin. 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 Crunchy Good night, sweet Cryo. May you sleep well, dream well, and remember that you are amazing, okay? Have a kiss. There you go, sweetheart. I hope that was real wonderful tonight. Come here. This. Good. And good boy. 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 Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Mahal kita. 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 Okay. Next routine is going to be kisses. Out of curiosity, would you like to go to a VTuber who is now getting drunk, or would you like to go to a cozy say-so dad VTuber? Okay, best dad tuber it is. They're a wonderful darling, and I'd love to give them a nice cozy time, of course. They are BRB screen right now, so that's okay. They're a wonderful darling, and that's a-okay. And I actually found them for Jess, so hopefully they'll come back from their BRB screen soon. Okay. Also, I probably need to enable some redeems, so I think it's viewer rewards, channel points. I'll go lower my gain for a minute here. You'll just hear me doing a bunch of boring things. But don't you worry about that, sweetheart. You just rest, relax, and it'll all be okay. For it's just a good, cozy night with your local femboy princess, isn't it? Oh. There we go.
Hello, everybody.
Whoop. Accidentally did that. Oh, got that back. Okay, refresh stream. You'll have more redeems. But if you want, sweethearts, you can just ask for one last redeem, and I'll do it right now for you, sweetheart. Okay. I'll put the audio right there. Oh, hi, Puppy Crib. I saw you were in someone else's stream. I think it was, who's the cute creature? Ah, guten Morgen, Ace. How are you, sweet Ace? It's been a while since I've seen you, and I do miss you, sweetie. How have you been, darling? And good, Foxy. Good, Foxy. Good, Foxy. Good, Foxy. Oh no, Crim. I'm talking about, they're an artist and they were drawing Snuffy today. And I'm doing great, sweetheart Ace. My seasonal depression seems like it may be coming soon, but overall I'm doing okay because I had a pretzel pizza and a cookie. And earlier, when I was having my weird sleep, I did have cookies and milk. It was very delicious, sweetie. Also, could you message me on Discord after so I can add a little name tag to you so I can just search Ace? Yeah. But yeah. Chomper is lovely, aren't they, sweetie? They're incredibly talented, and at some point I would love to have just a little bust done by them of pink character or whatnot. I think it would be very cute, yeah. So I may have to contact them soon. And Koha. Oh, and this goes to you, wonderful Ace, and sweet puppy Crim. Feel free to do a few redeems, okay? I don't want to cry and have you feeling left out, okay? And Koha, my sweet, beautiful darling Koha, who's always so enchanting, so beautiful and sweet, with your kind voice, your cozy feels, and your adorable sweetness. You really are the goodest, bestest darling in the whole universe, and the whole earth, aren't you, sweetie? Yes, you are. And that is breathtaking. And, oh my, they have a spinning redeem. Oh, you do, sweet Crib. Thank you, sweetheart. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, Ace. sweet. Good boy. Always popping in chat. Oh, Bog. I should ask him how much and see if I can budget it. Yeah, that should be slaying, isn't it? It should be slaying. And, yeah, another beautiful thing by the talented, darling ᶠᵉᵐᵇᵒ. But sweet Ace, having you come by whenever you're available. I know I'm not really streaming European hours anymore, which makes me so sad, but you're lovely and darling, and I do miss you, sweetheart. So please, have yourself an absolutely wonderful morning, you good boy, Ace. And remember to stay slay, okay? Now, I am going to do some quick typing. Okay. I know, but I do miss you, sweetheart Ace. I'm not always streaming at these hours. Anyway, there's my links if you want to follow me anywhere else and you don't want to miss me. The Cozy Say So 16 plus server is pinned above. Please be say so or I'll cry. And here is the raid command. Please copy that. And tonight we'll be going to a wonderful say-so beam called Best Dad Tuber. They're absolutely darling and cozy, and I love them greatly, sweethearts. So, good boy, good boy, good girl, good girl. I love you all dearly. Have a good time zone. And remember that you are loved. Okay. Good night now, darling.